Hello, good morning dear students. In last class, I narrated the story Two Deer by Leo Tolstoy. I hope you have understood the story. Today I am standing before you to teach the poem On Children by Khalil Gibran or Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran, some people pronounce it as Khalil Gibran and some pronounce it as Khalil Gibran. So this is a poem extracted from his well-known book. The title, The Prophet, which has been translated into more than 100 languages of the world. The prophet means he is regarded as proclaimed as the messenger of God. Is the prophet. In Kannada we say it as Pravadi. He means he is most influenced teacher, you can say. Most influenced teacher is called prophet. In this, this is his well-known work. In this poem has been extracted from this book called The Prophet. This On Children is a poem which depicts the usual expectations of parents regarding their children from their children. So it is a critique that where Khalil Gibran advises the parents that not to expect too much from their children. He means to say that parents past should not influence children's future, and he uses here metaphors like bow and arrow. By using these metaphors, he says that parents are like bow and children are like arrow. There must be understanding between parents and children. So bow should take all the, bow means parents should take all the, pain. They should have patience. They must be flexible to allow the arrows to reach their goal, their destination quickly or not swiftly. They should understand the children. So this poem, particularly On Children, is an eye-opening. It opens the eye and it allows the parents to introspect themselves. That one thing is happening in this world from so many decades, I say that so many centuries. We are not leading our life what we want. We are not becoming what we wish, what we will. Rather, we are trying to become what our parents say. So, Khalil Gibran wants to change, alter the mindset, this kind of mindset of the parents here. So, he wants the children to have complete freedom. So, parents should not ask their children to become whatever they want. Rather, they should allow the children to become what children want. So this is what happening here. So all the children are the carbon copies of their parents. So neither the children are happy with their goals and aims or the dreams which they had, because those dreams, those goals are not theirs. Rather, they are borrowed from their parents. The future of the children are going to be decided. Future of the children is going to be decided with the parents themselves. Khalil Gibran tells them, advises them that not to interfere with the life of children. So he says that at the beginning of the poem, the line says that your children are not your children. This is a strange sentence, a strange line by Khalil Gibran, that your children are not your children. Obviously, the question comes into the mind of parents, then whose children they are. The children born to you, the children born from you but not, they come to you but not from you. It means to say that you are the just mediator who brought the children to this earth. If you would have not given birth to the children, they would have born from someone. They would have born in some other, they would have born from some other parents. But think that when you have given birth to the children, you should not own them. You should not influence them. You should not impose your ideas, your thoughts, your dreams to the children. Because whereas children are having their own. This has been happening. If you take an instance, if you take an example that the children want to become something, but parents do not want them to become whatever they wish, but they want the children to become whatever they want. So here he says that the past of the parents should not influence the children future. What does it mean? For example, at the young age of the parents, when parents were young, when they were adult, they wanted to become something. Other than they could not, because they lived the life of their parents. So that's what now, whatever unfulfilled dreams left, the goals which they wanted to reach, the destination which they wanted to reach, that they could not, so that they want to fulfill their unfulfilled dreams, goals through their children. So later what happens, these children aims and goals which they had, and they try to fulfill them through their children. This has been happening. So parents are not allowing the children to think independently. They are not giving them freedom. That here it talks that you can give biological bound, not psychological bound to students. So you can soul them, you can give shelter to them, but not their soul. You can give them your love and affection, not your thoughts and ideas. So all the parents are doing it. In fact, they are every now and then they are enforcing, they are influencing, they are imposing their ideas, their thoughts to the children. And what about the children, their own thoughts and ideas which they want to live? So Khalil Gibran, through this poem, he both, as well as the parents and children, both he asks them to introspect themselves. Especially this poem is to the parents who every now and then interfere with the life of children where they should not. They have simply given birth to the children. They can give their biological bond, not psychological bond. So where they can construct a beautiful house for the children, not their soul. They should not restrict the children. So here, bow, and it takes example of bow and arrow. So the poem begins that your children are. There is a prophet in front of, prophet speaks. Khalil Gibran feels the feeling of a baby which has just now born, and mother asked that baby which was there in her womb, she asked the baby, speak to us children, speak to me baby. When baby starts speaking, or prophet says that your children are not your children. They have come to you but not from you. The children have not born from you, they came to you, and the life longing for itself. If you don't give birth to the children, they would have been given birth by someone. By saying these statements, he makes, he asks the parents to introspect themselves that you should not own your children. You should not take control on the children. Every now and then you should not influence your ideas on children. That's what he says through this poem. Again he says that there must be a mutual understanding between parents and children. Like bow and the relation of bow and arrow. See here, bow and arrow flexible, especially bow. This bow which is used by archer. You say that archer. Archer here you can say God, or time, or unseen power, Almighty. So he uses bow and arrow, and archer he loves both bow and arrow here equally. So parents, bow should have no strength, at the same time they should be flexible to reach the arrows to their destination. If bows don't bend properly, if they are not flexible, arrows could not reach their destination, they fall here. So the journey of the children are far, the journey of the children is far away. The destination of the children is far away, they have to reach it successfully, so that bow should, it should tolerate, it should have patience, it should take pain, it must have strength as well as flexibility. So flexibility to reach the arrow successfully to their destination. So that all children is a critic of the usual expectation of the parents towards their children, and he asks the parents that children are having their own individuality. So you let them to live their life, and you every now and then don't interfere with them and don't try to control them. So that's what Khalil Gibran through this poem he discusses. Now let us see what he says. And before going to discuss this poem, he asks us to discuss the pre-reading activity. Pre-reading activity, what do your parents expect of you? See, this is what is quite common, that when parents have given birth to the children, they expect from the children, obviously. And what do you expect of your parents? Both it is. Parents also expect something from the children, children also expect something from the parents. It is the responsibility of the parents to give them biological bond, not psychological bond. They should provide whatever the basic necessity the child needs, the child wants. It wants basic education, it wants food and clothes, it wants shelter, it wants whatever basic necessity the child wants, that being parents, it is their responsibility to provide them. And while providing, what happens? Parents start controlling on children. Parents start injecting their ideas which are stale, which are which are past. So that Khalil Gibran asks them that not to influence their past with the future of on the future of children. So next, have you ever felt your parents are too possessive? Demanding? Why? So sometimes it happens that it is the duty of elder, it is our responsibility that to understand the ability of the children. Sometimes what happens that we start comparing our children with the neighboring children, neighbor children. We start go on compare that, look at that child, look at your friend, that how intelligent he is, how good marks he scored in the exam, why don't you? And we fail to understand the ability of the child here. So we go on impose, we stress on the child or the baby or child that you should become like him. So this should not happen. Every child has its own individuality. So we should understand its ability, capacity, depend on that. So whatever capacity, ability it has, according to that it can lead its life. But we don't allow the children to, first of all we don't understand the ability of the children, and then we go on impose our ideas, our thoughts, our goals and our dreams on the children. And children could not sustain it. And children try, they work hard to fulfill the dreams and aims of parents rather than theirs. Neither parents will be happier nor the children, because the children are inculcating the ideas of the parents. That should not happen. That's what that's what poet Khalil Gibran want. No, that's what is advising the parents, that not to influence their ideas on the children. Obviously, we come across many parents that they are too possessive on their children. They have their own conditions, terms and conditions on the children. They demand them. That should not happen. So it is there. Obviously, it is there. So here, in this poem, if you see, there is a picture given here. Mother bird is feeding the babies here. That the duty, the responsibility of the mother is to feed them, not to control, not to impose, not to influence, or not to impose its ideas on the babies or the children, newborn children. So that one day what happened here in this poem, and a woman who held a babe against her bosom. A lady, a woman who is having a babe in her bosom, she asked the baby, and a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children. Speak to us of children." What is, how we should be? Speak to us of children. And he said, here he means here prophet. Prophet, no, he means here prophet. He says that your children are not your children. Look at the statement, your children are not your children. Then whose children they are? Question, whose children they are? Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They are the sons and daughters of the life's longing for itself. To continue the creation on this earth, this life wants the children to be here. So that whether you give birth to the children or not, but life wants them. The creation wants them. The continuum of the creation, this life wants them here. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. This is, they come through you, not from you. What does it mean? They come through you, but not from you. You are not exact. You are the just mediator. You have just brought them on this earth, but think that they are not. No, they have not come from you. You are not the owner. You should not possess. You should not have control on the children. Rather, you are just a mediator who brought the children on this earth. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. Children, when you have given birth to the children, they will be with you, but think that they don't belong to you. They do not belong to you. And though they are with you, obviously, if the parents don't give shelter to the children, if parents do not give their love and affection, whatever the children want, then who else can give? Though they are with you, yet they not belong to you. Children will be with you from the beginning of their life until end. They will be with you. It is your responsibility, it is your duty to give them shelter, to give them love and affection. Though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. Even though they will be with you, but they do not belong to you. You don't try to own them. You don't try to enforce your ideas or your thoughts on the children. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. The immediate next line says, next line you see, you may give them your love, but not your thoughts. He tells the parents that you can give your love and affection, your concern, your care, but you cannot give your thoughts. You cannot impose your ideas on the children. So, what is important? Dear children, dear students, do you say that what is the most important or powerful thing on this earth? Which is ruling on this earth? What is most important? I say that the most important thing is ideology, thoughts, which controls us. So that ideas and thoughts are very powerful here. Those thoughts and ideas should be the children. They should not borrow or they should not copy from someone. So that's the reason that is the reason that Khalil Gibran asked the parents that you may give them your love but not your thoughts. You should not give your thoughts, your ideas. You should not ask your children to inculcate them because your ideas are stale, your ideas are past, your thoughts are not relevant, they are not fresh, because for they have their own thoughts. Children are having their own thoughts, fresh thoughts. He compares the thoughts of children with future, and at the same time he says that the thoughts of the parents are like past. So that he means to say that you should not influence your past with the future of children, because children are having their own bright future, their own fresh ideas, thoughts. For they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies but not their souls. Next he says that you can give biological bond to the children, not psychological bond. Psychological bond. No, you can provide them whatever the children want, but you should not, you may house their bodies but not their souls. So you can, you provide them whatever the children expect from you, that they expect beautiful clothes, good food. They want some, bicycle, toys, chocolates, whatever children expect from their parents. They want a beautiful bedroom for themselves. They want different books. You should provide. Parents should provide whatever children expect. So they can biologically, for their health, they should provide everything. You may house their bodies but not their souls. So that children want from the parents that whatever they expect, basic necessary. They want education, they want clothes, they want food, they want shelter, and whatever children expect, you should provide them. But remember that you should not influence, you should not ask your children to follow your ideas, but not yours. You may house their bodies but not their souls. You can give them everything but not your ideas. You should not allow the children to inculcate or to follow whatever the thoughts you are having. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. How beautifully it says. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. The ideas of children are powerful, their thoughts, there is a gap. Your thoughts are like past, but their thoughts are like future. They dwell in the house of tomorrow. The thoughts, the ideas of the children, dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not in your dreams. He says that parents even cannot think in their dream that how fast children are, how far better their thoughts compared to them. Here parents' thoughts are stale, they are yesterdays, they are past. We should remember that life never stands, life never stops. So it continues. So that you cannot stay in past, you cannot stay in yesterday. No, we will live in future. So that which you cannot visit, not in your dreams, You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. So that you may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. So here, poet advises the parents that try to understand the children, try to give them comforts. You try to be like them because they are the future. They are living, their soul is dwelling in the house of tomorrow, whereas you are in past. How can past and future be together? Rather, you can become like them. You try to be like them. You try to understand them more and more, give them more and more freedom, liberty. You give them love, your concern, care, everything, but accept your thoughts, accept your ideas. You may strive, you try to understand, you try to be like them. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. Because what happens when, this is what, if parents wanted to become something when they were young, at that time they could not become because they lived the life of their parents, and whatever the unfulfilled dreams left, they want to fulfill through their children. So it has been happening from centuries, it has been happening from generation to generation. So that Khalil Gibran wants to full stop here. He wants to keep a full stop. He wants the parents that not to make their children like them. Rather, parents should become like their children. So he is completely wants the parents to be, try to be like their children. They should not make their children to be like them. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, not tarries with yesterday. Tarries with yesterday. Stops. Tarries means stops or stay in a place. Stops or stays in a place. For life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. What is the motto of life? Life goes on. It goes in the future. It continues. It won't stand or it won't stay. It won't stop. So that life goes not backward. Life never goes back. There is nothing that with drags the life back, or there is nothing like that. Life goes back. Does the life go back? Never. It goes forward. So life goes not backward, not tarries with yesterday. It won't stay in yesterday. So it is time. The force of time makes the life goes forward. It lives. But it never comes back, or it never stays with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent for. Now next he says that he compares parents and children, and these are the metaphors he used here: bow and arrow. Bow and arrows are these are metaphors. Metaphor is a figure of speech where two different things are said as one. Bows means like your parents, and arrows means your children. And there should be perfect understanding, there should be mutual understanding between parents and children. Because children are just born, they are trying to understand the world in their own way. Whereas already elder parents have learned, they have understood in their own way, but they should not try to make their children like them. Rather, they try to be like their children. So here, bow means parents and arrows means here children. He says, you are the bows from which your children as living arrows. They are fresh, living arrows. They are, children are like living arrows. They yet to reach their destination. They have their own goals. They have their own dreams to live. They are living arrows. Children are like living arrows. You are like bow. You, dear students, you cannot imagine a weak bow or the bow which is not having the strength or flexibility. It cannot leave the arrows swiftly, quickly, far away. So what does it mean? Bow should be strong, at the same time it must have flexibility. It should have flexible, it should bend, it should take, no, here bows means parents must be strong. Parents must have patience. Parents must ready to take the pains because of the children. Because their intention is to reach these arrows to the destination. Children are like here living arrows. They have to reach their destination. They have to reach their point. That cooperation from the parents is needed. The flexibility, understanding, strength, bearing capacity, parents must have to reach their children successfully to that destination. Or else what happens, the children may not reach successfully. The life of the children life may not be, they cannot reach their destination successfully. So that to reach the arrows or to live the life, if the children want to live their own life, and parents understanding their flexibility is needed. So that bow and arrow, so there must be understanding. Both your arrows should also strong. They should be also strong to reach their destination. Whereas bow should be also strong, flexible, because through the bow arrows would reach their destination. There must be complete understanding between parents and children. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent. Through you are the mediator. If bows are not there, there is no meaning for the existence of arrows. Or I can say that there is no existence of arrows. Bows are there so that arrows. And arrows are there, they want bows also. So interdependent. Bows are there, arrows could reach their destination quickly, perfectly. So that here bow should take, bow must be strong and it should have strength, flexibility. The archer means here, the archer here, Khalil Gibran takes archer means here God, Almighty, unseen power. So that the archer sees the mark upon the path of infinite. So infinite. So here the journey of the life is an endless journey it is. So infinite path, the archer sees the mark upon the path of infinite and he bends you with his mind, that is arrows may go swift and far. So here archer bends bows purposefully. The intention of bending, or when he bends this bow, the intention of the God is, the archer is to send the arrows swift and far. So that he, with his might, with his power, what happens? He makes these bows to bend, or he bends this bow with his might, so that he has to allow his arrows to reach his arrows. His arrows means here God is not differentiating parents and children. He is not differentiating bows and arrow. So both are, God treats parents as well as children equally. He loves both. So that the archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far to reach the destination, to reach the point swiftly, quickly, and which is far, so that he wantedly bends the bows. Now, if bows cannot bend, arrows fall here. Arrows could not go and successfully reach their point. So that bows must be flexible. They should ready to bend. They should ready to take the pain. They should ready to bear. They must be flexible to reach the arrows successfully towards their points. His might and that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. How he suggests, you see, he asks the bow, or he asks the parents that in the hand of archer, in the hand of God, you are let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. You feel glad. You should feel pleasure. You should feel happy that you are sending arrows to their points. Bending in the hand of archer, you should consider it as a gladness. You should consider it as a pleasure. You should take it as a pleasure, not pain. You should feel happy because through you arrows are reaching. You are the reason. In fact, bows are the reason to reach the arrows to their destination. So that bows who are there in the hand of God, so that they should feel the bending. No, it is a gladness. It should be gladness to them. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. You should feel happy because you are also one of the reasons that through you the archers are reaching their points. So that you should feel this life when you are taking care of the children, when you are providing your love and affection, care and concern to children. You do it in a gladly. You should feel it happy. You should do it happily. It should be the pleasure of parents to take care of their children rather than giving their thoughts and ideas. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so here what happens? He means here, as I said, that God, archer, what he does, for even as he loves the arrow that flies. So here, archer loves the arrow that flies, that goes to reach its point, it reaches its destination. So he loves also the bow that is stable. So stable, bows are stable. They don't flow, they don't fly, and no arrows fly. Means to say that parents are like bow. They are stable and arrows fly. Arrows go from place to another. So he means to say that. So he means here archer who loves as bow as well as arrows. So he doesn't only love arrows and he won't love the bow. No, he loves both bow as well as arrows. He doesn't differentiate. Both are important to reach arrows to its point. Bow is needed. In fact, bow should bend. It should have flexibility to reach its arrows towards the destination. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. So here, archer, God loves both children as well as parents. So children, I know he is the creator of parents and children, and here parents are the just mediator. Through them children have come to on this earth, because life longing for itself. This earth wants some creation, this earth wants children to be lived here, so that parents are just like mediator. Through the parents children have come here. It doesn't mean that they should own them. They should not take their control on them. So they should not impose their ideas on the children. So that's what, because both are here observed by the god or archer, who is where bows are like parents and arrows are like children, and here god is archer, and he loves both arrows as well as bow. Arrows are like the living arrows, they flies, and bows stable, they stand. So here god loves both arrows as well as the bow here. So through this poem, Khalil Gibran opens the eyes of parents, and he makes the parents to introspect that how they are imposing their ideas, their thoughts on their children, rather than giving them love and affection, care and their concern. And after reading this poem, the vision, the perception, the paradigm of the parents, definitely it will change. Because parents start thinking that if we give our ideas, our thoughts to children, and whereas children are having their own thoughts, and when the children start living the life of parents, when they started fulfilling the dreams and aims of the parents, and how about their own aims and dreams? And then children start fulfilling them through their children. So that it has been happening from so many decades, from many centuries. Khalil Gibran wants to break this by saying that children are not your children. They have come through you, but not from you. You are the just mediator here. You have brought them on this earth because earth itself, this life itself wants they are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself, so that this creation of earth, or on this earth, earth wants the children, life wants the children to be here. And if you would have not given birth to the children, they would have born from someone, they would have been given birth from someone. So that understand here your responsibility, your duty, that you are the just mediator. Children have come through you, not from you, and you can give biological bond to the children, not psychological bond. You can give them your love and your concern, their comforts, but you should not impose your ideas and your thoughts on the children. So it is a critique which makes the parents to introspect, to look into themselves, that now at least after reading this poem, parents should not every now and then interfere with the life of children. Of course, it is their duty. If something goes wrong, they should correct them. And they should not strongly impose, they should not demand, they should not possess their children, that they should live according to whatever they wish. Rather, because children are having their own thoughts and ideas to live, so that they should allow them. They should allow to fulfill their dreams and aims. Because both are like we are created by God and who looked after by the God. Now, God will look after both children as well as the parents, and the journey is an infinite journey where living arrows are sent. And these children are living, they are leading their life. Feel it glad and give them, give shelter to their houses. You house their bodies, not their souls. You give biological bond to the children rather than psychological bond, because children are having their own. Let the children to lead their life and fulfill their dreams and aims. Let them to reach their destination which they plan, which they want, and don't interfere, because you are living in the past and children are living in the future, and don't influence your past with the future of the children. That is the overall theme of this poem, that opens the eye of the parents, and at the same time he makes aware, he makes even children also to be aware of their own responsibility, their own duties, and whatever the thoughts, ideas, dreams and aims they are having, they can fulfill, but they should not allow the parents to impact their ideas, their thoughts on themselves, because they are having their own. So this is the poem. This is an outline summary, or this is the lesson we can learn from this poem, that an individual is having his own life, and we are having our own thoughts and ideas to live, and we should not allow someone to impact their ideas and their thoughts into our mind, and we should lead our own life rather than our parents. That's what the poem expresses here, that it is a critique, it introspects the parents, or it makes the parents to introspect themselves, that they should not impose their ideas on children, rather they should give their love and affection. We will discuss in next class, a sunny morning. Thank you.